Welcome to VDEOMKR, the podcast that cuts past the highlight reel and takes you straight into the raw behind-the-scenes stories of creatives and makers. I'm Carly, founder of The Good Vibe Media, a woman-owned and operated video production agency and a creative studio space. Every week on VDEOMKR, I sit down with filmmakers, creators, and creative entrepreneurs for a deep, honest conversation you don't typically hear. The late nights, the pivots, the breakdowns that shape the breakthroughs. These are the conversations and stories that make people like me and so many other creatives need to hear. This is a space for growth, for lessons, for community, a place where we learn from each other's real, unfiltered journeys. This is VDEOMKR. Let's get rolling. Welcome back to another episode of VDEOMKR. I'm your host, Carly, and today we have Bella. Bella is the owner and casting director at Good Faith Casting, who specializes in principal casting for film, TV, and commercials. Based in Arizona, Bella has over 12 years of casting experience and has recently cast for HBO's Duster pilot in Arizona, UMC's Monogamy Season 3, and recently served as the head casting director on Rob Schneider's new comedy, Daddy-Daughter Trip. Bella is known for her ability to find the perfect cast for a project with her extensive network of actors, both established and up and coming. She has an uncanny knack for understanding the nuisance of a character and finding the perfect actor to bring it to life. Bella has a deep passion for bringing stories to life and loves the collaborative process of working with directors, producers, and actors. She is always striving to push boundaries and create innovative casting solutions. Bella's multifaceted role as both a casting director and conference director showcases her commitment to shaping the landscape of the entertainment industry. Her passion for nurturing talent and elevating the craft of acting positions her as a true driving force in the Southwest's entertainment scene. Today, we'll dig into her journey, her approach to casting, and her vision for the future of regional film and television production. So let's dive in. So excited for this conversation with you, Bella. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited. Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a long time coming. Every time I see you, and even when we had the idea of this podcast episode, I just dreamed about having you on the show and having this conversation.
I feel honored.
Yeah, let's dive into it. We are going to start with some rapid fire before we get started. So first question is, what is the first thing that you ever made that you were so proud of?
Oh, wow. In high school, I was in DECA, which is just like a business entrepreneurial space for students. And I actually created, this is so dorky.
I love it.
I created an ad campaign for David's Bridal and I like pitched it to this like group. Like, honestly, I don't even know why, but I knew I wanted to be in marketing. And at the time it was like we were coming up to prom season. I was like, I'm going to design their whole marketing for like prom at David Bridal. And I like pitched it and presented it. I didn't win an award, but I got pretty far, which was pretty exciting. So
awesome.
I was really proud of it.
Yes, you should be proud of that. That's awesome.
And I was in high school. It was just like, la, la, la.
For sure. That's huge. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay. Who would be a dream actor to cast in a project? It could be alive or historical.
Well, I just selfishly want to work with Mindy Kaling. I don't care if she was like starring in it, if she was writing, executive producing. I think she is absolutely brilliant. And if I could just be in her orbit, even for a day, I would geek out.
So good. If you weren't in casting, what department of film do you think you would be in?
If I wasn't in casting, I actually think I would go to an ad agency. That's what I originally thought I was going to do. And casting's very similar, so there's a lot of synergy there, but I would go into ad work.
Yeah, so good. I can see that for sure. Where do you feel the most creative?
Okay, this might be lame too. Actually on vacation.
Okay.
When I'm on vacation, I always bring my laptop with me. One, because like I just can't leave my house without my laptop. But that's where I get a lot of my brain blasts, and that's what I call them. I'm like, oh, brain blast. And I will just start either writing, just jotting down ideas. I have built out like full-on webinars on vacation just because I think I get a chance to like actually relax.
Yeah.
And my brain starts like firing in all cylinders. So I'm very creative on vacation.
I really like that. And I totally relate to it too, because I feel like especially when you're in like a new environment, a new culture, a new scenes and smells and tastes, it kind of gets your creative wheels spinning a little bit more.
It does.
So is there a vacation that you went on recently where something was You had a big brain blast?
Well, so last summer we went to France for the first time. So we went to Avignon and Nice. And that was in June and my conference was in August. So I was like literally like planning out my keynote while on the beach in Nice.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
And it was a kick-ass keynote. So I think it worked.
Heck, yes, it was. I'm sure. Did you give some credit to Nice for on that keynote?
I should have.
Yeah.
Well, I will say it had changed my life in the sense that I can only drink French wine now because the wine is like fundamentally different. The food is different. It is so like, yeah, now I'm bougie and drink French wine.
Yeah, for sure. I love that so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, who is someone that you would drop everything to collaborate with and why?
I'm personally just like, I love television. So I really would love to be working for like a network. So I don't care. Anybody at like CW, HBO, Paramount, like hit a girl up. Yes. I'm like, I will drop everything. I will be the girl you need. Yes. Okay. Being on a TV show would just be a dream come true. That's
great. So good. All right, 2 more. What's the most memorable audition you've seen?
You know, I get this question often. I'm very blessed that I have really set the bar really high for talent. And so to be honest, I'd say like 80% of the auditions I see are really good. I'm in a stage in my life right now where I'm really diving in more into the artistry. And so I'm trying to find projects and align myself with projects that want to cast artists, not just name talent who's bookable in the box office kind of thing. So I can't say one audition in particular, but I really do watch magic unfold every single week, which is truly amazing.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. Great answer. I love that. What is one thing about your casting process that people might be surprised to know?
Ooh, surprise. I'm a pretty open book. I document a lot of my life on social media.
Yeah.
What would someone not know? I don't know if I should say that.
You definitely should now.
I personally partake in taking gummies at night.
Yes.
And I do.
Secret sauce.
Yeah, I do. I will like go down a rabbit hole on IMDb, and it's like I don't know, something about it just like relaxes me, and I can like literally like lock into a project. And I joke that when I like as a casting director, I don't have the final say on who gets cast.
Yeah.
Big misconception. It's very collaborative, and it's a good thing because like if it was my movie, yeah, I would cast my friends and family. No shit.
Yeah.
But it's not, so it's very collaborative. But there's just certain moments where like I know we found the person, and I'm like, ah, shit, there it is. And it's just a feeling I get. And when I can present it to the director or the client and they agree, I'm like, yes, did it. And sometimes it kind of happens on those little nights with a little gummy. It's like, I just get this brain blast and I'm like, oh, this is it. I know what to do. I know the person I need to call in.
Yes.
So I don't think many people know that about me. And it is technically legal here in Arizona.
For sure.
So.
Yeah. We're not breaking the law here.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Okay, I would love to just start with like diving into the background of how you even got into this world of casting. So can you take me back? Take me back to the early days and how you even were introduced and got into this industry.
Yeah, well, I wish I had a more fun creative story, but I'm just a Nepo baby. I am a second generation casting director. My mom started the company. And the thing with casting is there is no degree, program, certification. It is truly all through mentorship. And so I'm very lucky that obviously my mom was in the industry. So I remember being at her studio. She'd be doing auditions. I was just in the back doing homework. Back then too, kind of like early days of email, she used to have just rows and rows of filing cabinets. And it was like, hey, like Hispanic men, white men, 30 to 35, and they're just all categorized. And so like young high school Bella, I would just go through and look at all the cute boys. I'm like, oh, cast him, mom, he's cute. So I've kind of been doing it my whole life in that aspect. Like I was very much brought up in it and around it. But it wasn't until college I was at a job that I absolutely hated, wanted to quit, didn't want to give 2 weeks. I just wanted to dip out. I was in college, needed money.
Yeah.
So I asked my mom, like, hey, can I come work at your office? It's just temporary till I find a new job, but I got to get out of here. And she agreed. It was not glamorous. She did not give me any special treatment. I mopped and swept floors. I did coffee client runs. I did the data entry that nobody else in the office wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then one day we were casting for Peter Piper Pizza. And so it was a huge casting. Families, kids, grandparents. And my mom had to run to the restroom but didn't want to back the schedule up. And I told her, well, I've been in the back doing data entry all day. I'll just keep it going until you get back. And I ran my first session directing the actors. And I still remember the actress's name, Susan Wedworth. She was with Ford Robert Black. And I directed her first audition. And my mom came up and was like, hey, you know, if you want to stay and do this, like, I'll actually train you. And that was 13 years ago. So I'm still here. So I took over Good Faith Casting in 2019. I now own and run it. And it has truly been a wild ride. Like, I think sometimes even as just entrepreneurs, we think we know this path that we're on, or at least what we want to do. And my career has just, in a great way, taken me along this path, but in a way I never thought, like, oh, like, that's how we got here. Okay.
Yeah, that's incredible. Can you tell me, like, kind of the origin story of your mom starting the company too? Like, what was her big motivator in starting this casting company?
Without speaking for her, I think it was really, she was out in Los Angeles and, you know, started having kids and really wanted to kind of settle down, I guess, and have a place where she could raise kids. So kind of getting out of Los Angeles and coming to Arizona. She ended up going to ASU. LA was great for her, but she was like, I just need a different pace in life, and settled in Arizona.
And how incredible now, fast forward a couple decades, to see how Arizona is truly becoming such a beautiful space for this industry.
Yeah, we have our new tax incentives that are back, which is... They're not perfect by any means. Like, I get that there's a lot of criticism, but I remind people we're in the game because for a long time we became a flyover state. Productions from LA would fly to New Mexico because they had a tax incentive, and we lost out on a lot of work and a lot of opportunities. So we are still in the infancy stage of our tax incentive, but we're at least in the game, and that gives me hope.
For sure. Absolutely. Okay. I want to talk a little bit toward, like, the actors themselves and maybe even the creatives. What are some of the common mistakes that you see actors make in auditions?
Well, number one, just not reading instructions.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah. So I'm an amazing casting director. And we are virtual now, so we do a lot of self-tapes. But I will actually go into my studio and I will record, like, a tips video. And I think I literally tell myself, okay, if I was in the room with them, what would I tell them? And normally for every casting, I kind of have a spiel, like, okay, we're going to start with this, da, da, da. And so I just do that, record it, upload it to YouTube. And when I send the self-tape request, that's what I give to talent. I can instantly tell from watching an audition who watched that video and who didn't.
Yes.
And I'm like, you guys, like, I am literally telling you exactly what I want to see on a silver platter. All you have to do is follow the instructions. So sadly, in casting, the cream really just rises to the top. A lot of people think, well, you see so many people, like, it must be so hard to pick. And yes and no, but at the same time, like, by the end of the day, we kind of have our top selects. So, like, okay, here are 5 to 10 people who we feel very confident putting in front of the client.
Yeah. Let's actually talk a little bit about the overall process, like how you guys operate and, like, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Like, I want to kind of get in the shoes of Bella to see how she actually operates this business.
You know, I think people would be very surprised that casting is actually not as glamorous as it might sound. I remember a couple years ago, I had an intern and they were like, well, when are, like, the red carpets and the open bars and the parties? And I'm like, dude, that's like 1% of the job. Like, that will come, but it's not super often. So it is important to know that casting, again, we don't have the final say. So we get hired by either the production company or an ad agency. And that is really where our loyalty, I guess, lies. So my job is to protect the client, to give them the best choices, versus a talent agent. They represent the actor. They have a legal duty to protect them. So yes, I work with talent, but I don't represent them. I don't sign them. Every week I get, like, dozens of emails like, can I be on your roster? And I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't have one.
Totally.
So also, I would say, too, with casting, we do interview quite a bit. We pitch ourselves, like, what we can bring to the project. But then beyond that, it's a lot of referrals. I've had clients that some of my first clients that I got as, like, a baby casting director that I still work with today. So it's really building up those relationships because that is how I've been able to not only get hired again, but then they refer me to other people as well. So it's very relationship based, as many businesses are. And then once we get a project, we're diving into a script, pulling out character descriptions, seeing who our leads are. Are they going to come from LA? Are we going to cast them here locally or New York? we do hold auditions, again, virtually. So we do self-tapes and then live virtual auditions.
Okay.
And it has created so much flexibility for the actors, but also for me as well.
For sure.
I'm able to take on more clients, which is nice, because when I'm in a studio session in person, it's really hard to multitask. Like it's hard.
Yeah.
So I'm able to take on more clients. And then now post-COVID, I've been also doing a lot more castings on the East Coast because it's virtual.
Yeah.
And I'm already a morning person. So like, I
Totally.
don't mind being on East Coast time.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's get up, let's get to work.
For
So
sure.
it's been a great process. It's an evolution. The entertainment industry is definitely in a very wild flex right now. Not really sure how it's going to shake out. I'm just like, we here for the ride.
Yeah. What are you kind of seeing, and what are you predicting that this industry will kind of flow toward?
You know, I would optimistically like to hope that we go back to art. You may have not heard of these vertical reel short dramas. They're not really my vibe. And like, here's the thing, I'll cast them. Like, I don't care. Like, but to me, it degrades the art of filmmaking. And I would really like to go back to like, how do we find the next movie star? If we're always booking people that have this quote, whatever algorithm these studios are using, that like, oh, well, this person's in it, it's going to pop. And it's like, that's not true, because art, we don't know what's going to pop. I think right now we're kind of missing, like, you remember the movies where you would get these like, I guess like back in the day before memes, it was like these little slogans, right? It's like, hello to my little friend.
Yes.
You know, oh, you ugly. You know, all these things. And it's like, we don't get that anymore because it's very formulaic. A lot of superhero movies, love them or hate them. It's like, I don't know, they kind of all blend together. So I'm personally hoping that we can get back more to independent filmmaking, more artistry, more stories, just unique stories, not just the same thing being regurgitated over and over again. But
yeah, I know.
I digress.
I am very curious your perspective too, because I do feel, even Nick, my spouse, who is the furthest thing from the creative and filmmaking industry, he is a bro in finance. But he was like, oh yeah, Carly, I keep seeing these like things pop up left and right about how Hollywood is dead, AI is taking over, blah blah blah. And I like want to argue him and fight him every single time, because I'm like, that's so not the case, because I am the optimist too. Like being the creative and the having the heart of storytelling and like understanding the art behind it. I never ever want to see that happen. So what is your take on AI and the future of how you can literally create a character through AI? You know what I mean?
You know, it's hard because my husband's also, he's a cybersecurity engineer. So he's in the tech world and he's like, no, like AI is here to stay. It's part of our lives. And to some degree, yes, I understand that. And I'm not denying like technology's evolution. Like this is great. But I actually think more now than ever, people are just craving authenticity.
For sure.
And I think AI right now in the film industry is this shiny new thing. It's like, oh, look, oh my God, I can do this. And people are definitely going to attempt it. They're going to try to make it work. But I don't know if audiences will resonate with it. I don't know if an algorithm can get the character or avatar to do things, because like I've seen actors on set and they bring something so authentic and unique. And like the director's not telling them like, okay, at this moment, raise your right eyebrow, or, you know, breathe in deeply and give us that. No, it's like they're experiencing it.
It's a human experience.
Exactly. And I just don't think AI can do that.
No.
And I think audiences will, I'd like to think, at least reject it. AI can be great, pick out plastic out of the ocean for me. Love that all day long. But let me watch humans create art.
For sure. No, I love that so much. What advice do you have for someone aspiring to work behind the scenes in casting or production? What kind of advice would you share with them?
Just as every industry, you have to get tapped into the community, start going to networking events, start understanding who the key players are, do your research, engage with them on social media. Do not by any means like reach out and be like, can I pick your brain?
Yeah.
It's like a trigger word for me. I'm like, please, no, God, no. But do it in a respectful way. I think people would be surprised how many people actually want to help the next generation. I work with a lot of smaller up and coming filmmakers, because I know, okay, this might be a short film right now, but I know maybe in a couple years they're going to be doing a feature or they're going to be on a TV show. So a lot of professionals are willing to invest in that next generation, as long as you go about it in the right respectable way, because, you know, we're busy and I can buy my own coffee and buy my own lunch.
Yeah, for sure.
And getting tapped into some of the organizations, like here in Arizona, and I believe you're a member of Arizona Production Association. They do monthly mixers. They do workshops. Like, you will not find opportunities at home. Like you have to get into the room.
Totally. Are there any, I know you've tapped into the East Coast too. Are you involved in any communities, or where could people like find those resources to like build more community in their network?
Okay, so I am a little bit of a weirdo again.
I love you.
Where I will actually set up Google alerts for a location, and I'll just put like New York actor networking events, filmmaker event in New York. And so
Cool.
that way, if something comes up, I get a Google alert. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like if I'm in town, I could make this. I also just started this year kind of compiling a list of acting networking events for actors that they can, it's like a free download, and I just will add to it as I find things. It does take a little bit of research though. I do believe the events are out there, but it does take a little bit of time. Like do a little bit of Googling. I would say always, I tell people follow like either production companies, casting directors, try to get on their email list, because if they are speaking at a film festival or at an event, a panel, most likely they're going to email their list first and say like, hey, because they want people to come support, right?
Yeah.
So it's like if you can just get on those email lists and just start kind of having an ear of what's going on, that could be really helpful.
For sure. And this is a perfect segue to talk about your incredible event that we're now going on year 5, right?
Year
In
5.
August.
Yep.
So can you talk about this amazing event that is happening again in August here in Arizona?
Yeah, so I created the Southwest Actors Conference as if I didn't have enough on my plate. I'm like, I'm going to do a conference.
Like, how are you actually surviving all this?
But it was 2018. I went to an event. It was out of state. I flew there, and it's a film and media event. So like I thought this would be my people. I was sadly met with a lot of suspicion. People very much viewed me as an outsider. Like, what is she doing here? It kind of brought me back to high school of like, oh, I can't like sit with these people.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a disappointing experience. And on the way home, a few glasses of Chardonnay in on the flight, had my pity party, telling my sister what was going on. And she was like, well, then do your own event. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do my own event. It was supposed to happen in 2020, obviously didn't.
Yeah.
But it truly, I'm kind of glad now it didn't, because it is so much work. And if it had happened in 2020, I think it would have broke me. I was not ready. I used COVID to really build out my connections, my network, and start networking with people in LA more, in New York. And so I was able to build some really good relationships that by the time we were ready for our first event, I felt comfortable like picking up the phone and be like, hey, Dwan, can you like come speak at my event? And he's like, yeah, let's go. So now we're in year 5, which is like, that was always the goal of an annual yearly conference. But I'm like, oh my God, we're here.
Yes, it's
So we're actually going to be unveiling a new logo. Either end of March or April, because I was like, it's year 5. Like we have to like, rebrand a little bit, go a little bit bigger. But it is every year I learn something different from it. And I think anybody who hosts events understands that you have to grow into these positions almost. And there's nothing like having a calendar on the date that's like, oh snap, we got to do this.
For sure. Absolutely. So who would you say this event is for? Like give a little snapshot on what they could expect while attending.
Yeah. So this is for actors or models. I bring in different acting coaches in schools to teach on different topics. So someone might be teaching how to audition for commercials, how to do character development, scene study. And then in the afternoon, we do industry panels with casting directors, agents, directors, managers. And there's that quote in Hollywood that says, like, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
And I kind of always hated that, because I'm a big believer that knowledge is power. The more you know, the better off you'll be.
For sure.
So my promise is I'll teach you what you don't know, and I'll put you in front of the people you need to know.
Yeah. I love this.
And I will say too, even for the actors that attend, like I love seeing the momentum it takes them throughout the whole year. And I'm seeing them on social media showing up really unapologetically and taking up space and putting themselves out there and getting that manager, getting that first co-star role. But on the flip side too, my speakers, I tell them every year, I go, you will get more out of this event if you show up too. So don't just show up for your 1 hour speaking time slot. Like engage, talk to other actors, and immerse themselves. And almost every speaker will come back and say like, wow, I didn't know how much I needed this for my soul. And they're not actors, but we all need to be connected into a community and of just like-minded people who like get what we're going through. I also tell people too, this is not like a boring dental conference. Like it's fun, it's high energy. We've got disco balls, we got lights. Like it's supposed to be fun. Like in the entertainment industry. We create magic. So that is really what I try to weave in throughout the whole event.
Yeah, you feel that. Like you feel that in the content that you share on socials and stuff too. It's pretty epic. Is there one specific like success story that you can think back of someone who came maybe for the first time and you literally saw them transform and had so many opportunities just completely open up for them through the workshops and the connections that they've made?
Oh my gosh.
There's probably like so many. You're like, why? I can't even narrow it down to one.
Yeah, right. I think the first person that pops into my head is Jamie Hogan from last year. And she's been acting for a while. I think I've auditioned her at least probably the last 10 years I've been casting. So she's been in the industry. And this past year, it was a very vulnerable room that we've created. We really went to the places that maybe people don't want to talk about or face. And people were crying, they're wiping tears away, but we really dove into like, what is holding us back? Like if I could wave this magical wand over the audience and say, you can leave that here today and be done with it. And I just had a really powerful conversation with Jamie about her future and her trajectory, getting her an agent and saying, okay, like you're in Tucson, but you are committed to coming up here to Phoenix and working. And I've just seen her on social media just show up, say, hey, I've got my new headshots. Like I'm ready. I'm pitching to agents. I love seeing that. I love seeing people take action because there's a lot of people out there complain about the work they don't have for the work they won't do. And it's hard to put yourself out there. It's hard to audition and audition and audition. And then maybe you get a call back and then you don't get it and you audition again and again. And you might do it 30, 40 times before something pops off. And that's where that resilience really comes in. And seeing her kind of transform, even just in the last like 8 months since last year's conference, is so inspiring.
That has to be the most epic feeling. To being a part of like a catalyst to help support that has to feel so rewarding. Is there anything that you have added maybe to the programming or shifted in the programming with some of the workshops or the speakers year after year? I'm sure there's like a little evolution or feedback that you get. Is there anything kind of new that other than the logo, of course?
It is. I do tell people like, every year is a unique experience.
Yeah.
It's never duplicated because we are bringing in new people. It's new formats. It's new themes. And it's really driven through our audience of what they're desiring. So 2 years ago, I had a woman stand up in front of the casting director panel and she asked a question kind of dealing about for an actor, like how do you approach a project when they didn't say there was nudity in it? And then now I'm booked and all of a sudden they want nudity and like, how does that work? And that's a pretty vulnerable question for a woman to ask in front of, 100 people in front of these professional casting directors. And I didn't really have a good answer for her. So I took the next year of planning and I actually found an intimacy coordinator who ended up doing a session at this last year's conference. And this session is so funny because everybody was like, I don't know if I'm going to get anything out of this. Like, I guess I'll show up and see what it is. Yeah. But then every single person came up afterwards and they're like, holy crap, I did not know what I didn't know. And so it was really amazing to see people kind of like, I don't know, and then just fall in love with the session and being able to advocate for themselves, understand what is allowed. And honestly, I learned stuff. Like, I've been doing this a long time. And in the new SAG negotiation contracts from 2 years ago, they put it as a health and safety concern. So no matter what, if you ask for an intimacy coordinator, they have to give it to you. And intimacy doesn't always mean nudity. It can be racially charged scenes, school shooting scenes, like something that's just like super activated that would potentially an actor needs to come back down from. And I know not all directors like intimacy coordinators, but I actually think the directors that can collaborate with one actually create a better vision. And we're keeping everybody comfortable on set. So that was, again, really pulling from the direct audience of like, okay, what is it they need and what they're looking for? And so I'm always kind of a little ear to the ground of like, what would actually help somebody move the needle in their career? And that session was just outstanding.
That is so awesome. Do you have everything pretty much secured for August? Or are you still kind of in planning?
No.
Okay. I'm like, are there some speakers or some,
I have like my short list of like, in my ideal world, of who I want there. We actually just secured our location this year, which we're going to a different venue.
Okay.
And that took a little bit longer than anticipated, but it all worked out. I'm super happy with it. And hopefully it all falls into place. It is a giant jigsaw puzzle though. And that's why I go back to, if that conference had happened in 2020, it would have broke me because I had no idea the rejection I was stepping into. And
Yeah.
and I had to tell myself, like, okay, they said no. It's not a no forever. It's just a no, not right now. It didn't work. And so I have this list of other people I go through. I'm like, hey, they couldn't come last year. And there's one speaker. I'm like, I have stalked her for like 4 years straight. I'm like, one day, babe, you're going to be here.
It's going to happen.
So I'm like, it's just not a yes right now.
For sure. It's probably expanded you in so many different ways.
And I will say too, even like, there's a lot of speakers like I hope to work with one day, but I have to fit it into the program and almost like that year's theme.
Yes.
So last year was like to be the rock star of your own life and like take that action, take up space.
Yep.
And so every year is a little bit different. And so I have kind of like a Rolodex of like, I know one day I'm going to work with you. It's just, I have to find the right timing and program because at the end of the day, I really want to serve our audience.
For sure. Do you have kind of a theme in mind going into this next year?
Yes.
Okay.
So this year is stepping into your spotlight.
Let's go.
So imagine what that will be.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, God willing activations to make it all work. Every year I would say it gets a little bit harder in the sense of I genuinely think I'm like, can I do this again next year to the next level?
Yeah.
And I freak out about it a lot.
But
somehow every year I get that download and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, here it is. It's go time, baby.
Exactly. So
do you have a team that supports you, or are you pretty much running this on your own?
It's me, myself, and I.
A girlfriend.
I do have like on-site event coordinators, so the day of they kind of take it over. I do have a new assistant this year, so I'm hoping to delegate more and
beautiful
kind of release some of the power.
Yeah.
I think it's hard, as any entrepreneur knows. It's just like your baby, and I have a very specific vision, so I've learned to get better at my communication skills, so that way I can really transcend that vision to the next person and be like, okay, they can handle it.
How has running this conference shifted or supported running your business?
Yeah, that was actually kind of a side effect that I didn't see coming, but because every year it is growing, and I've never done paid ads. It's all been just organic social media. And I literally have clients like, oh my God, you like run this event, like, holy crap. And so it is gaining traction more than I had even realized. And I'll share a story because this person had reached out to me. They do not follow me. They do not engage in my content. And I'm petty and I go look.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, this event looks so amazing. Like, why don't you help me collaborate for my event? Da, da, da. And I was like, and it was just that reminder. I'm like, oh, wow, people are taking notice and that I don't even know about.
Totally.
So it's been really amazing. It also helps me as a casting director be able to tell clients, I'm like, hey guys, like, not only do I have these amazing connections in these major markets, but I have access to a pool of talent that potentially could be part of your production.
Yes.
I've built up my company so much that sometimes there will be a job where it might not pay as much, but an actor wants to prove themselves. They want to get into our office, into the door. And so it's a short film only paying $150, but they're going to do it for me versus maybe somebody else, which is nice. Like, the brand has really grown that much where people are like, oh, if Bella's behind it, like, it's legit. It's a good project. So that's huge. Always, it's been really nice.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Where do you kind of see the future of Good Faith Casting going? Where would you like to see it 5-10 years from now?
Oh, it's so funny. A few years ago, I was so aligned on a vision that I thought was what I wanted. And I've, the last 8 months, like, really taken a step back from it. Have to kind of heal some of my own shit before I can get to that next level. So right now, I'll be very honest, the vision is very murky.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to keep my head above water.
Honestly, though.
And I'm hoping that in this time right now, as I'm doing some of the inner work, I got into therapy for the first time.
Good for you.
I'm doing EMDR, and it is, y'all, like, it's a process. When they say it's a journey, and I get it now.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was actually at a work event last week and I had mentioned I'm in therapy doing EMDR, and I would say the younger, like, Gen Z ladies are like, yes, babe, I love this for you, great. But I could tell some of the older people were like genuinely like, ugh. And one woman came out, she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, Anne, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing the work so that I can show up as my best version of myself. And so I'm very open with my healing journey because I don't want there to be a stigma. It's helped me so much. It's still a process, but we're on it.
Yeah.
So the future of Good Faith right now is a little murky. I'm trying to work on my shit first, and then hopefully the vision will come to me.
I totally agree with you, though, because I feel like the more transparent we can be with that journey, the more inviting it is for people to step into it. And like, I genuinely feel like you were speaking earlier. It's like we as human beings are craving that authenticity, that realness, that transparency, that connection to each other. And so the more we can kind of let that shield down a little bit, I think the more, honestly, the more growth we're going to start to see, the more creativity is going to be born, the more innovation is going to be, spread through all different sorts of industries. So that's beautiful. I'm really grateful that you're sharing that and you're open about that too.
Honestly, like everybody needs therapy. Like
for sure.
I think even, I don't know if as a society we have even reckoned what we went through for COVID alone. I was rewatching the show Superstore, which is hilarious and the best show ever. But I think it was at the last season, they're filming, it's COVID and they're wearing masks. And I'm just like, oh my God, like we went through this. The panic and the unknown and being locked in our homes, like that alone needs some unpacking for most people. And I don't think we've moved past it, but it's like we haven't addressed it.
Yes.
So everybody needs therapy. I think
it's true.
Even as an actor, when you can understand your emotions more, your character's going to have more depth to it.
Absolutely.
Because if you're not feeling and you're suppressing and you won't let yourself go there, how can your character ever go there? And so it actually makes you a better actor, a better creative performer.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. I also feel too that like nowadays, just in the society that we're in and media, and we're like funnel these messages and opinions and like everything is just so like shoved down our throats so much that it's like, it's very easy to lose touch of yourself and lose touch of your inner voice and your inner spirit and your inner soul because like you're freaking bombarded with so many things all the time, right? So I think it is important to find those resources of therapy, whatever form or way that it like speaks to you and your soul. I think it's important to prioritize that so that way you can show up in whatever, endeavors it is that you're wanting to pursue. Yeah.
There's a really good book that I recommend everyone. It's called The Artist's Way. And it's really for anybody who wants to tap into their creativity. Okay. And it's amazing. You read it, they have like weekly activities that you do. And one of the things that the author says to do is journal your morning pages, 3 pages, just your stream of thought process. And I love journaling. I typically will type in a Google Doc or I'll do voice to text. But journaling for me has really helped to slow my nervous system down, to like hand write my thoughts. And I think that practice alone can be so helpful, again, for any creative out there.
For sure. Have there been people that have come in through auditions that you remember, you're like, oh, we probably won't see them again, and then a few years down the line you see them come back? Like has there been this like evolution of relationships with actors that you've seen?
The great thing is acting, you can come and go and it will always be here. So I see people go all in and then they step away, they have kids, they move, they maybe sell their business and then come back to it. And I think that's kind of the beautiful thing of it, is like you are genuinely never too late to come back to it, to start. I have actors that have literally started in their 60s. And one of them, Pam, I just love her. And we booked her on a feature film. She booked 6 days for a 2B film. And she was like, this is something I never thought would be possible for me at my age. And we did that. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. So it's never too late to start. Maybe you do it for a few years and you quit and you can always come back. That's like truly the beauty of the entertainment industry.
That is so cool. Yeah. That is awesome. Where do you see, because we are in Arizona specific, do you ever see yourself going to LA, New York, that route? No, like you are planted, you are rooted here in Arizona.
Yes. Yeah. I love Arizona. I grew up here. Like, this is truly home for me. It's funny, when my husband and I were first dating, he thought like, oh, we're gonna have to move to LA for your career. And I was like, oh God, I hope not. And nothing against LA. It's just not my vibe. Yeah. Like I learned before COVID, I would literally fly Southwest at 5 a.m., land in Burbank, do a session, fly back at 9 p.m. And I learned on my very first time doing that I do not tell people what I do. I literally had an Uber driver pull the car over and like get his headshots out of like the glove compartment. I was like, oh my God, I'm an actor. Just because I had mentioned like, oh, I just finished a casting session. And I was like, oh my God, like get back on the road.
Oh my God.
So everybody kind of has a gimmick and it can feel very inauthentic. So now I say that I work in medical sales and that shuts the conversation down.
Bella, that is so good.
So LA is great. It has a purpose, but I don't know, Arizona, like like today it's 80 degrees out. It's beautiful and people are so friendly here. Like I genuinely don't know if I could ever leave here. Like I just couldn't.
Have you ever scouted someone like out in the wild where you're like, oh my gosh, can you like you actually don't understand, like I see something in you?
You know, my early days of casting I would and people never followed through, and it was because I'm like, oh my god, you have such a great look, like if you got into a class, like you could be so good. And they never would. I think you as an actor have to really want it because it is so hard. I would say on average, an actor will last about 2 years before they leave the industry. So if you're an actor watching this or listening and you've done this more than 2 years, you are ahead of the game by far, because most people, they give up. You know, when you first start, it's the shiny newness. And oh my God, I got my first agent and my headshot and the first time I'm on set. And then about 2 years in, you're like, oh my God, I've auditioned for the same casting director 10 times. Like, why does she keep calling me in? And the doubt starts to kick in. And that's really where you see actors either face it head on and overcome it, or they sadly will leave the industry.
Yeah.
They can always come back though.
For sure. It's always there.
Yes.
Like you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
Are you connected with a lot of acting coaches and resources that way for people if they come in and they're like, oh wait, yeah. we need to flex these muscles a little more.
And that's actually really helped too with the conference, because I'm very picky with my speakers. Year one, I had a speaker that I was so overwhelmed. I thought I just fill the spot, be done with it. And I didn't really research them. And I was like, oh, okay, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
So now I have a very high bar, and it's not just, oh, you have a bunch of Instagram followers. Like I need to know that what you're teaching them is going to help them. Yeah. And so I personally love working with coaches in schools that are walking the walk. So here locally, Verve Studios, owned by Amanda Melby. She's a SAG-AFTRA herself. I've cast her in film. I've cast her in commercials. Like she is literally teaching the actors her process and what she does. And she has the proof to show that it works. So I'm very picky with the speakers, because I want to make sure it's not just, oh, like they're cool and fun to hang out with. Like, that's great, be a vibe.
Yeah.
But like you have to teach them something.
Totally.
And so I'm very picky with the resources I give out to actors, because, you know, acting can get expensive. You know,
sure.
Being in workshops and private coaching, like it definitely adds up. So I want to send actors to places that I know it's actually going to help them.
For sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Taylor Sheridan? How he was like an acting coach for decades and decades,
and now he has like this major empire.
Yeah. Do you know much about his story or his journey that way?
Not a ton. It's funny. I'm actually friends with the casting director out in Austin, Texas. She spoke at the conference, and so I hear a lot of the behind the scenes of casting. And the nice thing is with like a client like that is you can really start to learn their preferences pretty fast. And because he's built such a cool empire, it's like she's like, oh, I know what's going to hit for him. I know the direction to give talent of what he does or doesn't like. And that can always be really helpful for actors.
Yeah, for sure. One of my very best friends, he lived in LA for about 18 years, but Taylor Sheridan was his acting coach for many years.
Oh
and
my gosh.
This is the best story. And I know he'll be okay with me sharing this, but he worked with Taylor for maybe 2-3 years, and he would go to his apartment, because at that time he like lived in a 2-bedroom, maybe a 1-bedroom apartment with his 2 dogs, his 2 labs. And he would go and do these acting classes with Taylor. And one day he looked around and he's like, what am I doing? Like, I don't want this to be my life. Like looking at Taylor, like he's this sad older gentleman that is just teaching acting, but he's so passionate. Like he has this passion and this drive and there's something about him that like he will never give this up. But I'm looking at his life. I'm like, I'm not sure I want like this to be my, you know what I mean? So he ended up giving up his acting. My friend ended up giving up his acting, classes and career and this and that. And go figure, a handful of years later, here's Taylor, like after decades and decades of like not making it. And the industry, it just takes one, whatever that is, to. So have you seen some of those success stories where you see, like, does that resonate or bring up any stories for?
It doesn't necessarily bring up any stories, but I think that is the thing any creative needs, though, is that fire and that passion. What I have noticed, especially after COVID now, is I can tell the people who still have a light, that like a craving, like I know this is so wildly delusional, I don't know how it's gonna work, but I'm just gonna keep putting one foot in front of the other. Versus the people that I'm like, I don't think they enjoy what they do anymore. Like they're just doing it because that's all they know. And one of the kind of amazing things that birthed out of COVID was it gave people a chance to see like, what is it that I want? We get one precious life, and I'm just gonna keep doing this because why?
Right.
So I love seeing people make those like pivots. The crazy thing is too, I'm sure, and I don't know his full story, but I'm sure it didn't like happen overnight. And that is the thing. It's like everything you do is truly compounding. So the consistency of him doing acting coaches, I'm sure probably opened up doors and relationships. And then when the opportunity presented, it was like, oh, I can do this now.
Yes.
And so it is a long game.
Yes. And what you were speaking to early in the power of your network and building that community over time is going to be the one thing that opens up the door that can bring you the success and the like literally manifest the dreams that you visualize.
And you just never, especially in the entertainment industry, you never know where people end up.
Yeah.
Like they might start as an agent and then they go work as a PA and then they're writing for TV shows and then they're directing a show. It's like there is not a linear path. And so you might network with someone who isn't, quote, big or has made it, but you don't know when they're about to pop off.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there some projects that you're working on now that you can speak on?
I can't share titles, but we do have 2 films right now that are supposed to hit in like the next 3 to 4 months, which is really exciting, especially since now with our tax incentive back up and running. And then I have 1 film in development. We are trying to attach a lead to it. And if we get our lead, then it will produce or we'll film it this fall. So, it's like we're not LA. Actors are not necessarily going on, 5-10 auditions a week. But we're starting to pick up, which is really exciting.
Yes.
These projects also have some really nice big names attached to it, which is really exciting to see. I feel like stars also love coming to Arizona. Like people just love it here. They're like, oh yeah, my aunt's in Fountain Hills, and
it's so true.
People just love being here, and they'll stay a few extra days and do a spa treatment, go up to Sedona. So I'm really excited. I'm personally anxious. I'm like, let's film, guys. Like, let's go.
Totally. Do you feel that momentum? Do you feel some energy?
Especially the start of the new year. Like with our film incentive, it's great. We're getting some stuff, but we are a commercial market. A lot of commercials, a lot of print come film here, and we're really starting to pick up, which is nice. It was a little bit of a slower fall, so it's nice to see that momentum. I'm like, oh, okay, like we back. Let's go.
I know you have a wealth of information on the film incentive, but maybe for someone listening that doesn't have the knowledge, can you share what that is?
Yeah. Don't quote me on this, but
no.
So basically, if productions come film in a certain location, the state will give a percentage back to that production. So actually, Kentucky right now is wild. They're 40% tax incentive, which is wild. I was like, gosh. Kentucky, okay. So Arizona, we're about 15 to 25%, depending on how much. If you do, you get a couple extra percentages if they film here, they have to hire X amount of people locally. If they do post-production here, the incentive was really created as a jobs bill. So that way production can't just come in, use and abuse and dip out. It has to really feed into the economy. The great thing is we were really able to look at how New Mexico modeled theirs and kind of pull what's working, tweak what's not working, because we really want the money to stay here. And the economic development that a film can bring is a lot bigger than people would think, but it's not only the actors, it's the hotels that the crew is staying at, the car services, the restaurants, the dry cleaning. The money literally does go into your local economy. And so I know there are people on both sides that may or may not agree with the tax incentive, but we do this in other industries for Amazon fulfillment centers. We do this for sporting arenas. And I actually think with the film incentive, the money really does stay here.
Totally.
So it's not perfect. We're still, again, in that infancy stage as we navigate it. But it is, again, we're in the game. That's what we can ask for.
Absolutely. It's funny because I took my daughter's obsessed with Stranger Things. She's 13 years old and she's actually addicted to Stranger Things. We were the ones first, in the theater for the season finale. She is a super fan. So for her big Christmas gift, I got her a tour of some of the film sets in Atlanta. And it was the first time we had gone to Atlanta. I'd never visited there before. But it's so cool because the tour guide, they have a variety of tour guides and all of them are somehow affiliated with a production of it. So they have this inside behind the scenes scoop. And most of them actually grew up in Atlanta or some of the outside, towns there. And hearing the stories of just that, exactly what you were talking about in Atlanta and how this whole production that they have that went on in not only in Atlanta but throughout the whole state of Georgia completely supported their economy in every aspect of the word of just these small towns and small businesses. So that was really, really cool to feel and to witness. And it's something that it brought light to the excitement of wanting to see more of that here in Arizona too.
Yeah, it's funny. I did the Breaking Bad tour in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you see all like the filming locations. So it's not even just the act of filming is the money goes into it, but then you have these almost other activations that continue getting money into the economy.
Yes.
Especially something like Stranger Things. And I think we'll see more of this where they're building almost activations around a show or a project. So it's, I can't remember what, they did something with Stranger Things where it was almost like an experience where you got to go in and there was like photo booths and it was like this whole like the size of like a mall.
Yes.
But it was like a big thing beyond just watching it. So it's like immersing yourself into these environments, and they had a lot of the cast come out, answer questions and all that. So I think we'll see more of that as almost TV shows are like building this cult following of people who are just like diehards. Like personally, whoever's listening, watching, like Dexter, like give me an activation on that. Like I love that show, like through and through. I'm like, I will be the first one signed up.
For sure. I actually I was going to film school in Long Beach when they were filming that show. So I like totally geeked out on Dexter. That was like my jam in college. But it also goes back to the whole point of like the feeling that I got when I was on this tour for Stranger Things in Atlanta is like, I loved how the Duffer Brothers chose these very real, raw, authentic locations in Georgia. And it goes back to that element and that aspect of like human connection, and not AI generated like studio sets. I know this fly keeps wanting to like say hello, but it was so cool. Like, yes, of course they had to do the studio scenes and all the like graphics and stuff, but like the authenticity of these homes that are literally frozen in time from like the 1980s and when that scene was set for that show, like that is the coolest freaking element, and it adds so much more depth and authenticity. I want to say too that majority of the props that they used from like the 1980s actually belong to the Duffer Brothers. Like it's from their home, like the phones and the toys and the stuffed animals and the games. Like
I didn't know that.
That
That's
is
cool.
pure like authenticity, and it just adds a layer of depth and realness. I feel which you can like AI cannot generate that for you.
Exactly.
So,
I genuinely feel so lucky to say like I'm a casting director. I was recently at an event and this woman, I told her what I did and she goes, "Oh, okay. And so what do you really do?" And I was like, "Oh." And the thing is, actors get that question all the time. So I have immense respect for how they handle it. But I was driving home and I just felt so grateful of like, oh my God, like I literally get to do this every single day. And even with my crazy clients and the long days, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like we create magic and I just don't think AI can do that.
No. It is so, so true. Okay, I've got one last question that I want to ask before we wrap things up. So this is our letter to our future makers. If a young creative or filmmaker found this podcast 10 years from now, what is one piece of advice that you would want them to take from you?
Everything you want is on the other side of consistency. Now, here's the thing. I say that, and it might not happen when you want it to happen. It's not going to happen the way you maybe think it's going to happen. But I genuinely believe if you put one foot in front of the other and you stay consistent, that will compound to make your dreams come true.
I needed to hear that too. Bella, thank you so much. Where can people find you? How can they stay connected?
Yes, I'm very active on social media. So at Good Faith Casting on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. I also go live once a month for Casting and Conversations where we just honestly have a chat, talk about auditions, talk about headshots, give out free advice. And if you can't join live, you can always watch the replay. So yes, please stay connected. And then this year's Southwest Actors Conference, August 7th and 8th, it will be in Old Town Scottsdale. Tickets don't go on sale till May, but it's a vibe. So come on, roll up.
Roll up. You do not want to miss it at all. Thank you so much for sharing today.